receive it from? And how can the commission obtain a copy thereof?
It was from the Chief Audit Executive.
Sorry, please say that again.
Chief Audit Executive.
And who was the chief audit executive?
It was Philip Raphal.
Philip Rahwali.
Yeah.
And when was that, considering that the IPID report I referenced you at page 101 of Mapieye annexures is dated the 1st of September 2023. So I take it that the internal audit report would be dated after that date.
Exactly.
Would you recall how much later after that date to assist our search?
I wouldn't. I don't recall, ma'am.
You don't recall. Now, you said in no uncertain terms in that interview that it cleared Mr. Mkhwanazi and that he did nothing wrong. What in the report, what wording appeared in the report that gave you such a definitive and conclusive understanding of the outcome of the internal audit exercise? Did it say, this report clears Mr. Mkhwanazi? Did it say, following extensive investigations, no wrongdoing could be established on the part of Mr. Mkhwanazi? I'm trying to understand, what was the wording, as you recall, of the report that led you to conclude as you did, and you communicated to the journalist accordingly?
I can't recall. I will still have to go back and check.
Sorry, I missed that.
I will go back and check.
You'll go back and check. Now, getting back to the IPID report, in the interview with the journalist, you said the report was vague. That's the explanation you provided. And you said, and as a result, you were unable to discipline anyone. Do you recall that bit? Now, I want to invite you to Annexure JM 19 of Mapiye's annexure bundle, which I said is the actual IPID report. And if you could just highlight what in particular about that report you considered vague, with reference to the report itself.
Can you repeat your question?
We are looking at the IPID report. Have you located it in Mapiye's bundle? It's
Yes,
marked
I do.
JM19. It starts at page 101. Now, you said to the journalist in that interview that no one was disciplined because the IPID report is vague, and therefore you were unable to discipline anyone. And you don't understand the content of the report. My question is, which part of this report do you consider vague? Just by flipping through now so we can understand your challenges at the time.
The report was fully analyzed by corporate and legal. Hence, I said, can we allow Advocate Kemi to come and talk to the report and also talk to his opinion about the report? And I indicated at the beginning of my response that if I was ill-advised or given an opinion that is not sustainable from the department, can we therefore allow Advocate Kemi to come and speak to the report? That's all I'm asking.
Okay, but as I indicated, we are happy to do so, except your own words seem to suggest that you considered the report vague. Are you saying that Advocate Bihari advised you that the report is vague? Or did you form the opinion that the report is vague, the IPID report?
That is my understanding from his opinion, from what he said. That is my understanding.
Oh.
Hence, I'm saying I do not want to waste Commissioner's time by saying stories I don't know, legal stories that I don't know and understand. I will ask the Commission. Advocate Kemi Bihari is coming on the 4th to pose this question to him about the opinion he rendered to the accounting officer. Remember, I'm not an expert in all the fields. We have engineering department, legal, HR, and so forth. I'm not an expert in those areas. I rely on HODs to advise me in terms of some of these reports or programs within the city.
My question was prompted by your choice of words in that interview. You said the report is vague, but based on what you've just said now, please correct me if I'm wrong, you you were not suggesting that you reached the conclusion that the report is vague, but you are saying that Advocate Bihari advised you that the report is vague. Is that what you were trying to communicate?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are not in a position to look through the report now as we sit here to try and understand which aspects of the report are vague,
No,
and you operated purely on the basis of what Advocate Bihari informed you and advised you
exactly,
in his capacity as a lawyer.
yes.
If we go back to your statement, then
Can I just
Commissioner.
ask a question? Dr. Mashazi, did you read this report from IPID at all?
Yes, I went through it, and because I must interpret it properly
Yes.
before I take any action. Remember, IPID, in as much as there's a memorandum of understanding between ourselves and IPID. When we discipline an official in terms of the labor relation and our processes, the collective bargaining, you need to be able to, in case you are taken on legally, when you go to the labor court, because I'll be the one who will be facing the labor court, I should be able to talk to the report. But if the report is not generated from my system, we had to subject it and confirm some of the things, because as you see the report, there were no annexures attached. Okay? So I know in terms of the report, there are gross allegations that needs to be attended to. Hence, I'm saying I do not want to waste your time, ma'am, the Commission's time, by saying yes, no, yes, no. I'm requesting that we park this. Advocate Kemo will talk to it, because I was solely relying on the opinion given to me at that time. But looking at the report, obviously, I would accept that the opinion is not assisting.
The reason I ask whether you read this report when it was given to you, it's because I'm worried if an impression is created or is drawn from how you're testifying that you received this report and simply passed it on. You didn't look at it, you didn't engage with its contents, you just passed it on to Advocate Bihari, and then he came back to you with his advice that ignore it, it's vague, and as city manager you were content to deal with things at that superficial level. I'm concerned that your evidence may be misunderstood to convey that. Hence my question, did you read this report?
Yeah, I perused the report.
Yes, you did read it.
Yeah, I perused the report.
Now, having read it,
Yeah.
and you've explained that you would have to defend your position about, the position you take about it. Having read the report, and I'm going to assume that you reread it to come and testify here, what in the report in front of you did you consider to be vague, unsubstantiated conclusions about what Brigadier Mkhwanazi is being accused of?
Yeah, post the commission and the evidence that we received, the report is full of gross misconduct, and it needed an action from the city. But initially, because I just perused through the document and there was no attachment to it to confirm, that is the decision that I took after I was advised that the report is vague.
Okay. A different question still relating to this. In your evidence earlier, you say that Chief Mapiaye was responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi. And you don't get involved with that. And indeed, this report from IPID, you're correct, is addressed to to Chief Mapieye, but we know from your evidence that it does come to your attention. But in that interview, you speak about you being responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi. That's what you say in your words. And I'm really confused about what you're saying about your involvement with disciplinary action relating to Brigadier Mkhwanazi.
Thank you very much. If you listen to the interview, I said I have a right to discipline Mkhwanazi as an acting chief of police and including chief of police. That's my statement. Acting chief of police, you assume the responsibility of being the chief of police, and the responsibility of disciplining lies with the city manager.
So where criticism is that the city failed to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi arising from this report, according to this interview, that includes you. You say you relied on Advocate Behari's advice, and he will come and speak for himself. But to the extent that you own up in the interview that you have the authority to discipline your acting police chief, and you have decided not to discipline him because the report is vague and you've conducted an investigation, that's on you. It's your decision at that point not to discipline him.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me give clarity to your question. At the point of the report and the memorandum, signing of the memorandum, Mkhwanazi was a director. That's why the responsibility of disciplining him was resting in the authority of the chief of police, not the authority of the accounting officer. Hence, in my interview, I said him as an acting chief of police then, and he acted just for a short period. And the chief of police himself, they report to me, acting in the capacity of chief of police. But at the time of this incident, he was a director. And the only person that could discipline him was the chief of police.
But from the interview, we know that you made the decision, for reasons that you've given, you made the decision that there's nothing to discipline him for because an investigation has cleared him. So you made a decision when, in that short time that he was acting, you made the decision arising from this IPID report, there's nothing to discipline him for because your investigation has cleared him.
I think I've answered that I was advised at that point. Whether the advice is admissible or the advice is helping the process, the head of legal will explain.
Okay. And then, can you just explain if the IPID report, as it is directed to the chief of police, and you say he had the authority to discipline, when you receive the same report, so we know where the authority to discipline lies, according to you, it lies with the chief. When you receive the report, why do you take it to Behari when the authority lies with the chief? Why do you say to Behari, look at this, and then you rely on him now saying to you, don't discipline? It sounds like you were doing something that, on your evidence, didn't belong in your remit because the authority lies with the chief, according to your evidence.
Thank you, ma'am. Remember, the chief of police received this from IPID, I think, when was it? The date.
The report is
He
dated
received-
September.
September. Yeah, he received this. And from his part, he did not want to act. I don't know why. Then he referred the IPID officials to my office, and they presented the report. There was Advocate Behari in the office. So as there were continuous inquiries about the report, Advocate Behari requested an official called Osborne Kanye from IPID to come and explain to us how do we move, because there were no attachments in terms of the report. That's why I wanted the advocate to come and talk to it. And Mr. Kanye said, because in the report, they were suggesting that there were some corruption, fraud and corruption, and advocate wanted to understand that. I was part of that meeting, and Kanye in that meeting, he indicated that they're still busy with the investigation. That's what he said, and this will be confirmed by Advocate Behari. That Kanye was still trying to conclude the investigation and also create criminal charges against Mkhwanazi. And he will take those charges to DPP. And Advocate, I think he did a follow-up again when this thing was ongoing, when I asked him that, what's happening now? Because Mkhwanazi, as far as the report is concerned now, he is being accused of fraud and corruption, which must be dealt with. Then he wrote an email, he will present the email here to Kanye, Osborne Kanye in IPIT, to check how far is he with DPP, so that Mkhwanazi can be arrested for doing this. That's why in the statement I said IPIT should have concluded and they must arrest Mkhwanazi because they are police officers.
Yes. Did you never become aware that employee relations commenced a disciplinary process against Brigadier Mkhwanazi? Are you telling us you never became aware of that when you say Chief Mapia never acted on this?
DC, I don't know about the internal DC. I started knowing about this through the IPIT report. Remember, in terms of the departmental functioning and the systems of delegation, Chief of Police would discipline any member, and I wouldn't be aware, junior officials, I wouldn't be aware of that. And I do not get involved in that.
Yes, I'm asking more specifically, Brigadier Mkhwanazi.
I was not aware about the internal, and the report was never even shared with me.
Thank you.
Doctor, you considered that you perused the report, the IPIT report.
Yeah.
And your reason for taking it to Advocate Behari is that he has legal. But when you perused the report, you must have seen that there were factual, not legal contentions, but factual allegations. I'm sure you noticed that when you perused, did you not? I'm talking fact, not law. Must have seen that there were factual allegations. Is that correct?
Factual allegations.
Yes.
That's your question.
Sorry?
Is that the
I am
question?
saying, yes, it is. Sorry. I'm told that somebody cannot hear what you are saying, Doctor. Maybe if,
Oh,
can you pull them, if that's possible? Pull them towards you, much closer, if the cabling will permit, just closer to you. And please speak up as well. Don't be too soft.
okay.
Thank you. So I was saying, when you perused the IPIT report, you must have seen that it made factual allegations. Did you not?
Yes.
You did. Please speak up.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner.
And serious allegations at that, because I think somewhere even the word fraud or fraudulent is used. So those are serious allegations, correct?
Correct.
One of the allegations being that Brigadier Mkhwanazi facilitated through a Mr. Chris Stein the registration of CAT VIP motor vehicles in the name of the Metro, correct?
Correct.
You must have seen that when you
Yes, correct.
when you did your perusal,
Yes.
yes. and also that although there was reference to, that is by Brigadier Mkhwanazi again, to the existence of memoranda, those memoranda in fact did not exist. You must have seen those factual allegations as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, Captain Behari comes back to you and says, there is no case here. Was it not a matter of relative ease for you to say, but there are allegations of fraud, which are to the effect that Brigadier Mkhwanazi, through Mr. Chris Stein, registered CAT VIP vehicles in the name of the Metro. What do you say about that, Advocate Behari? Did you at least ask that? You can't just come back to you and say, there's no case here, and then you just accept that without question. What did you say, and why did you not demand of him to explain, for example, those simple factual allegations?
My further engagement with Advocate Behari is that because there are fraud and corruption issues here, can we conclude the process with IP so that he is charged? In terms of internal processes, I am told that there was internal investigation and Chief was dealing with that internal investigation in terms of labor relations.
But in the video you say there's no case here. So it cannot,
It's
the two can't stand together.
Yeah.
There being no case and the chief dealing with a case. I'm talking internal case. The two just cannot stand together.
I'm referring to the IPIT report.
Yes,
The question is about the IPIT report.
yes,
In terms of what I have done as an accounting officer.
yes.
And you are making a point to say that I should have made a follow-up with Behari.
Yeah.
That with this, after perusal of the report, with these allegations, don't you think that we should persuade the matter further? But my discussion with him, he relies solely to waiting for IP to conclude, because according to him, his understanding. That's why I'm saying I do not want to sort of throwing him under the bus, but he was dealing directly with IPIT and indicating that the report, the IPIT has promised that they've taken the report
Okay,
to
let's-
DPP.
Let's focus on you then. When you say in the video, in the clip there, that there is no case, aren't you basing that on what Advocate Behari said?
Yes, I am.
So that takes me back to my question,
Yes.
which is, did you just take what he told you at face value without even questioning it?
Yes,
And
I
I'm asking this question in the context of you being the accounting officer, the most senior administrative/executive official within the municipality. Someone comes with a report. You have perused and seen very serious allegations which make reference to fraud. So someone comes and just says there's no case here. And you do not engage on the specific allegations that you have read, you yourself have read.
I concede.
How can an executive, most senior executive or top administrator act in that manner?
As I indicated that I deal with a lot of issues, but maybe this one in particular, I did not pay too much attention on it, but I must indicate that I am not protecting anyone, and I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus.
you
But,
say-
the issue of not doing follow-up, I consider that I did not follow up as an accounting officer.
You said, I've forgotten the actual words now, you said maybe you did not take it too seriously. What did you say? But something
I
like
did
that.
not pay too much attention.
You did
to
not
it.
pay too much attention.
Yeah.
On something so serious, or did you not consider this to be serious?
I consider it serious.
Something that says a private entity's motor vehicles, the private entity being CAT VIP Protection Services, a private entity's vehicles were registered in the name of the municipality, of which you are the top administrator, and you do not pay too much attention to something like that. I just want to understand you, to understand your thinking both now and then.
Then to be honest, I did not peruse the document thoroughly. As I think in my statement, there's somewhere where I indicated that I did not peruse the document. The document immediately, the advocate was part of the meeting with IPIT. The document immediately was taken by him to go and review it.
When you say you did not peruse it thoroughly,
I perused the document after.
after what?
After the opinion and after the interview.
Advocate Behari's opinion?
Yeah, after the opinion.
Before you concluded that there was indeed no case?
After I concluded, after he gave me opinion.
No,
and
the
I
thorough
concluded.
perusal
The thorough
now
reading is post.
is post you receiving the opinion.
Yes.
But before you come to a definitive view that there is no case here, not so.
Yes.
Now, that still takes us back to my
Maybe
question.
the post-
Once now you have perused thoroughly, as you say, and you have this opinion, and when you peruse thoroughly, you see that there are serious allegations, one of which is about fraud. How do you then come to this conclusion? And as I see it quite easily, that there is no case here. Why don't you say to Behari, but this says these cars were registered in the municipality's name. Is that correct factually? Why don't you say that to Behari, or why don't you ask that of Behari?
Ask him that, is it factual?
Is
that
it correct that indeed CAT VIP's motor vehicles, that is, motor vehicles belonging to a private entity, were indeed registered as the Metro's vehicles? Why don't you ask Advocate Behari that? Because you can't, this is a factual allegation, you know. That is why I would not be engaging you if we were talking questions of law, which indeed you would have had to rely on him. But now this is factual. It said, cars belonging to CAT VIP were registered as though they belonged to the municipality. That's factual. And Advocate Behari comes back to you and says to you, there is no case here. We now know that you actually accepted that. You say so in the video clip. My question is, having perused the IPID report thoroughly after receipt of Advocate Behari's report, why did you not engage him on the facts, not law, facts? Is it correct, Advocate Behari, that these cars were indeed registered as if they were the municipality's vehicles? Why don't you ask him that? Also, why don't you ask him, is it correct that an impression was created out there that there are memoranda between the municipality and, I'll focus just on CAT VIP here because I seem to read this to refer to CAT VIP. Did that happen? Is there a memorandum between the municipality and CAT VIP? We know there isn't. But did you engage Advocate Behari on that? What did he say? Those were very easy questions, both questions, the one regarding to the registration and the one regarding the memorandum.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson.
Why did you not raise those questions? How could you, in the face of these allegations, reach the conclusion that you did?
I reached the conclusion before I perused the document. And before we received all this documentation that supports the IPID report, I read that, I properly read this.
I'm
post-
getting-
Post my comment.
I'm getting confused now. If you say you reached your conclusion before, do you mean you reached your conclusion before you sought Advocate Behari's view? I want to understand the before.
No, thanks. I indicated in my interview that I received an opinion from Advocate Behari
Yes.
that the report is vague. I indicated that in my interview, that the report is vague, therefore we're not going to take any action. Julius was cleared. Brigadier Mkhwanazi was cleared. But
When did your perusal take place? I just want to get an idea of the timeline. Because you say you reached your conclusion before, but at some stage
No.
you perused. So I want the timeline, a clearer timeline.
sorry, Chair, if you misunderstood. I said post the advice.
Post the advice,
Yeah,
but
post the
before your
advice, that
final, view on the matter.
Yes. And the matter went further to say that my response goes further to say that after receiving the supporting document, I feel that the opinion given then is not assisting me.
Also, effectively, you did not accept Advocate Behari's advice.
Initially, I did.
Because it was not eventually.
Initially, I did.
But eventually,
But post,
yes.
eventually post evidence and everything and reading the document properly. I don't think the
Which
opinion assisted.
you refer to evidence? Which evidence? What evidence?
The attachment and the illegal memoranda that were signed by Mkhwanazi and the issue of registering vehicles and so forth.
All right.
After getting that evidence, I felt that the opinion did not help me much.
And then once you reached that conclusion, that is that the opinion was not assisting you, what did you then do as the as the accounting officer?
I had a discussion with Advocate Behari about this,
Again,
and I want
again.
him.
Yeah.
I want him to come and state what really happened afterwards. Because I gave him the responsibility to peruse all the legal document and advise me. But looking at the evidence and the complexity of the matter, I feel, as I indicated, that he needs to review and talk to these issues.
Here at the commission?
Here,
No. I'm asking you about what you did at the time. Once you became aware that what Advocate Behari had given you by way of an opinion did not assist you, what did you do at the time?
At the time,
You are the accounting officer.
yes, sir.
You've been given an opinion on an issue, or rather on a report that makes very serious allegations. You are the accounting officer. At some point you are satisfied with the opinion, but at a later point you no longer are. Now, once you are no longer satisfied with the opinion, what do you as the accounting officer, top administrator do? At the time.
At the time.
Yes.
And at the time, when is the timeline? I can't recall the timeline, but I engaged him, and he said he has responses to that. He was working with IPID. That's the response I got. Hence, I'm saying it is important that for you to get the full truth of what really transpired with this report. I know I do take responsibility as an accounting officer, but I relied on him. Hence, I'm requesting that he come and testify on the opinion that he initially gave. And as I said, that after looking at the evidence that was now provided in terms of the registration of vehicles and supporting documents for this IPID report, I feel that that opinion did not assist me.
He gave you a written opinion when you indicated to him that you were not happy with the opinion, did you write to him? Did you send an email?
No.
Or
No.
you
And-
communicated orally?
Yeah, it was already, even the initial response from him, it was oral, and he said they're working on the response to get more information from IPID so that they're able to deal with the matter.
Probably this is the, the last question from me, at least on this aspect. I want to understand, because you quickly jump to the need for Advocate Behari to come to this commission to testify and clarify his thought processes. But I'm interested to know, there's a point you are not happy with what he told you. You are the accounting officer. There are serious allegations. And this is when, what was the timeline? This is September 2023, and you retired at the end of July 2025. What did you do? You, as the accounting officer, what did you do about these serious allegations that you say you actually saw for yourself when you did the thorough perusal?
There's internal process where Mkhwanazi is being investigated, re-investigated by the city, and there's also suspension from the IPID report and from the commission, obviously. There's an internal process that is going on.
Thank you, Doctor. Let us adjourn and resume at 2:15. 2:15.
We're not going to finish today.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are ready to resume. Thank you. A reminder about your cell phones. Please make sure they are off.
I think my colleague, Commissioner Baloyi, has some questions.
Chair, I'm happy for Ms. Silla to start, then I'll do whatever follow-ups I need to do on the basis of her starting.
Aisha. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Dr. Mashazi, when we broke for lunch, we were discussing the issue of the IPID report and how the city, and I'll speak as a city, dealt with that report. You recall the advices you say you received from Advocate Kemi Bihari, who was the head of legal, or who is, I apologize, is the head of legal at the city of Ekurhuleni. You, in response to a question by Commissioner Baloyi, in particular as to why you did not act, you specified that you could not, only the chief of police could act against Mr. Mkwanazi, and you would only be able to act against him if he were acting as the acting chief of police. Do you recall that? And you indicated that either before, I think before the interview, oh, I apologize, the witnesses' files have disappeared. The witness doesn't seem to
They
have
took
files.
my files, I don't know.
I know, I do apologize. Joy, what's the story there? Thank you. There were basic assumptions made that the witnesses' files will still be here, but for some reason or other they were removed, all of them, and I note even the extra files.
Should we wait outside
2
a
minutes,
bit?
2
We'll
minutes
hear
while
from
we
you.
track them
Thank
down.
you.
Apologies, Chair.
No, when it's done. Sorry. No, just to see if Dr. Mashazi has the files in any particular order there. Do you want to sort them out, or are you fine as they are, Doctor?
I must indicate that this is one of the disadvantages.
We'll
But,
just take an adjournment and you'll indicate to us. We'll
But
adjourn,
I'm
Doctor.
fine,
Sorry, Doctor?
I will arrange, I'm fine.
You're fine. You had begun to, I thought, complain. Maybe let me hear you out, Doctor.
That my file, and we are now starting with the commission and questions, and I don't have any file in front of me. I must point out that I get a bit disorganized in terms of my thinking.
No, apologies for that, Doctor.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Apology accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And I must apologize, Dr. Mashazi, because just before we started, I was interacting with you, and I did not see that your files were not before you. And I guess being your evidence leader, I somehow left you in a ledge there. We don't have to rush. The key files you should have before you are your statement and are your annexures. You confirm you have those.
Yes, I do.
If you need a moment to get your bearings, the commissioners are happy to accommodate. That was a tad destabilizing, and I do apologize for that.
I'm okay.
You okay? Okay, thank you. Let's turn then to your statement file, and in particular, page 21. You remember at page 21, from paragraph 120 to 123, you are dealing with this very failure to implement the directives of IPID. I want in particular to refer you to paragraph 123, and if you could read that into the record, please.
Paragraph 123.
123.
Yeah, Advocate Bihari advised me that the report was insufficient and that the matter should not be persuaded further.
Now, in the context of the conversation you had earlier with Commissioner Baloyi, and to some extent as well with the chair, you indicated that you had received this advice from Advocate Bihari. And you subsequently satisfied yourself that the advice or the opinion was not entirely correct. And I think you said it's when you received the evidence. You suggested that this was before the interview, did I hear you correctly?
No, ma'am.
When was it?
It
Relative to the interview,
It was post to the interview.
post the interview that we played.
That was played, and it is obviously recently when we received evidence that these things really happened.
So the receipt of evidence you're suggesting is with the commission's intervention? Is that what
Can
you're
you
saying?
repeat the question?
You say you received evidence that then led you to question the correctness of the opinion expressed by Advocate Bihari, as you have read at paragraph 123.
Yes.
Now, I'm testing to see, you say you formed the view that his opinion could not have been entirely correct when you received the actual evidence. When and from who did you receive that evidence?
The correctness of the report and the evidence, we received it from the evidence bundle that was presented to us.
So, up until your date of retirement of the 31st of July, you were not aware that the opinion was flawed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The interview was held on the 3rd of February 2025, you confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And at the time, Brigadier Mkonazi was acting chief of police.
Exactly.
And had you formed the view that the opinion you received from Advocate Behari at the time was incorrect, and this is before you retired, you then would have had the power to act against Brigadier Mkonazi in his capacity as the acting chief of police.
Correct.
But unfortunately, you were none the wiser until you retired.
Remember the evidence, we're receiving the evidence now from the bundle that we were actually given through the commission, from the statements and the evidence that we presented, that there is indeed some truth in the report, and there is also evidence supporting the report. Hence, I'm saying, if at that point we had evidence, I would have acted differently.
Indeed, and that's what I'm confirming. So basically
Yes.
what you are saying is, if you knew then what you've since come to learn
Yes.
through the commission, you would have acted. That's your
Correct.
testimony. You referenced receiving an opinion from Advocate Bihari. If I could just start here, was that a written or a verbal opinion?
It's a verbal opinion.
Just a verbal opinion. And am I correct to say that the totality of that opinion is encapsulated in your paragraph 123 that you just read? Effectively, that the report was insufficient and that the matter should not be pursued further. Is that the advice you received?
Correct.
Did you have an engagement with Advocate Bihari following that opinion to satisfy yourself that indeed the report was insufficient and that not pursuing the matter further is the correct course to take? Did you have that deeper discussion with him?
We had discussions as and when with Advocate Behari, hence I indicated that he should actually expatiate in terms of his understanding about the opinion. Because I based my decision on the opinion that was given. And as I indicated also that in terms of the processes, when you receive reports of this nature, a lawyer or the legal department must actually interpret and give advice to the accounting officer as to what needs to happen.
Yes. So your decision was based largely, if not solely, in fact, on the legal advice you received from your legal advisor,
Correct.
Advocate Bihari. Commissioner Balo, you had indicated, I think there are questions and
Yes.
perhaps might be the appropriate junction.
Yes. The report, as you correctly say, Dr. Mashazi, the report is directed at the Chief of Police. It's not directed at you. And then you say in paragraph 122 of your statement, you say, notwithstanding this, I received the presentation of the report. So it was presented to you by IPID. Okay? How does that square up with earlier evidence that IPID presented it to MAPIA as well?
They have written the report to Mapeye. It is
Yes.
part of the evidence. They presented the report. They wrote the report to him
Yes.
that he must take action against Julius.
Yes,
It's documented, signed by Ulu,
yes.
that he must take action. He must actually discipline Mapeye. And for me, it was fair enough because the discipline of his junior officials lies squarely on him as the accounting officer of the department.
So when you say IPID presented the report to MAPIA, you meant it is addressed to him in writing? Because on the
Addressed to
face
him.
of it, indeed, you're correct, it's addressed to him.
Yes.
But it was presented to you,
Also, yes.
and you received it. Now, the report, and if Ms. Silo could remind me what page the report is in the bundle.
The IPID report,
Yes.
that is MAPIA JM 19, Commissioner.
Yes. So the report discusses the complaint, the allegation in paragraph 1. It's quite a short report of 3 pages. And then it concludes in 103, page 103 of the bundle. It gives you the recommendation, and then it recommends disciplinary action, disciplinary steps be taken in terms of the disciplinary procedure collective agreement. And it says for honesty and for failure to conduct himself with honesty and integrity. Now, on the face of it, it looks to me an employee relations matter. That's what it looks like. Why would you refer this recommendation to Advocate Behari and not your head of HR, Ms. Kasheka?
For me, at face value, I looked at the report and it contained like memorandum of agreement. And for me, I took it that it needs a legal opinion to advise.
I thought you received the memorandum of agreement
This-
later, the evidence. You didn't
No, it-
receive it with the report.
It was part of the report.
So when you received the report in September 2023, before you gave it to Advocate Behari, it already had the memoranda, the two memoranda.
No, this one is a memorandum of agreement concluded between IPID and South African Police Service as well as EMPD. I'm referring to this memorandum. And it was part of the report that was sent to Chief of Police to take action against Mkhwanazi.
So you say the reason you gave it to Advocate Behari, it is because it contained a memorandum between the IPID and the EMPD.
Correct.
And you were asking him to do what? Because you've got a report which recommends disciplinary action. That's the action that is required from the city and you have from the municipality, and you have a head of HR. What are you saying Advocate Behari should do with that recommendation? Because he's not Mr. Mkhwanazi's superior.
I did not look at the recommendation only. The report itself, the content of the report, it must be interpreted legally and I must be advised legally. Obviously, the HOD HR will come and testify about labor relation issues that are related to the report.
Okay. Now, I'm not concerned about the HOD. We will speak to her when she does, because she will come and testify. So we will speak to her. I want to understand why it is you receive, there's a complaint, and you are told in page 1, in one short paragraph, what the allegations are. And in page 2, there's an analysis of what that investigation has revealed. And then you, in fact, the only reference to a memorandum is at page, it says, in the second page, it says, it has been ascertained that the suspect was acting and further discovered that the chief of police and deputies do not have powers to enter into a memorandum. The IPID memorandum with EMPD, may be missing it. I don't see any reference to it, so I don't understand when you say the reason you took this to Advocate Behari is because there was a memorandum between the EMPD which had accompanied this report, between the EMPD and IPID. I don't see a reference to it in the report.
In terms of my evidence, when I started responding to this question, I indicated that anything that has memoranda or any document that would come from external service provider or external institution, we always take them to legal
See?
to assist me in understanding the document. Remember, I'm running 26 departments and I'm not like legally trained or HR or engineering and so forth.
Yes.
For me to take a safe route, I need an advocate or the legal department to interpret some of these things before I take action.
Okay. Let me ask you, let me try lastly. You've told us you've now had the opportunity to read this report from beginning to end. And you say you now realize that whatever advice Mr. Behari gave you was not helpful to you. Do you accept, now that you've had the chance to reread it, do you accept that given the recommendation in this report, the proper directing of this report would have been to employee relations or to HR to deal with what it recommends?
I agree.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think it's only appropriate to conclude with these matters regarding the memoranda, the blue lights and IPID. And I know they appear under different questions in your statement, so I will jump then about. Please pull out the annexures, the annexure file for Niza. You can close the MAPA file for now.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Are you winning?
Yes,
I'm going to
I'm
ask somebody
winning.
to help you. You okay?
I'm winning.
Okay. Okay, if you've looked.
Annexures, ne?
Yes, annexures file, thank you. I want you to draw your attention particularly to annexure PN 1919.
Annexure?
PN 19, that would start at page 344. Now, this, to place things in their proper context, this is a letter addressed to Mr. T.A. Kiefelakai, the Director, Investigations and Information Management, as well as Acting National Head Investigations, IPID, and copied to Mr. W.M. Ulu, Senior Investigator, IPID. Mr. Kulu is the investigator in the IPID report that we have just been working through. It's dated the 6th of December 2023, and if you go to the last page of that at 348, you will see that it is signed by Advocate Njabulo Zulu, legal advisor, and Thabo Makwiting, acting HOD Corporate Legal Services, both with the city of Ikuruleni. You confirm you know them and they hold those positions. They held at the time those positions.
Correct.
Have you ever seen this letter and have you ever had opportunity to consider its contents?
This letter, as I was made to understand,
Yes?
was an internal letter from the department, and according to Advocate Kemi, said this letter was leaked illegally. It was never sent to IPID. That is my understanding according to the letter, but I haven't seen the letter.
You've never seen this letter?
I've seen the letter now in terms of the bundle that we received.
Would you be able to express a view on some of its contents in your capacity as accounting manager, strictly? Accounting, what, authority? Would you be in a position to engage effectively with this document?
Yeah, it's really not helping the process of dealing with the matter at hand.
We'll try and take it slow, and to the extent that you have to read specific paragraphs that I reference you, I'll give you the opportunity to do so. I'm starting at page 345. And this letter, at paragraph 5, records the following. The registration of vehicles was not done by the suspect in this case being Mr. Mkwanazi, but by the authorized personnel fleet. The letter, and I jump 4 lines below, this letter has been authenticated by the author security company and is therefore not fraudulent. I understand the authors of this document to suggest that the registration of vehicles by EMPD was in fact effected. Is that the same understanding you have? And that registration was duly authorized?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying perusing the letter, looking at the letter, to be honest, is not assisting the process to deal with the actual misconduct.
In what way is it not?
Because if they're saying the registration of the vehicle, there are no challenges or legal challenges in terms of the registration of vehicle. For me, without those vehicles being presented as donation to the accounting officer, because the accounting officer is the only person who can authorize donations.
Okay.
So if you look at our donation policy, I was supposed to have had sight of this.
I understand you, and just to test my understanding therefore, then you are saying to the extent that there was such a registration, you can't support it
I can't.
because it would be based on a donation that you as a city manager did not authorize. So,
Correct.
however they express themselves and they think that it was authorized, you disagree with the position assumed in this letter in that regard.
I disagree.
Thank you. I want us then to go to page 346 of the same document. In fact, I'll start at 345 at the penultimate sentence of 345. It records, and I read, Stein furthermore states that this is the norm as my understanding, as SIT program, Caesar's program, and Gauteng heavy vehicle donations were donated only on a letter. Do you see where I'm reading?
No.
From the bottom of 345, the
Okay.
penultimate sentence,
Yes.
that says Stein further states, and this is a reference to, is it I.O. Stein, who submitted a statement regarding the registration of these vehicles. And it quotes him as having said, this is the norm as my understanding as SIT program, SEAT, S-E-A-T program, Caesar's program, and Gauteng heavy vehicle donations were donated only on a letter. Do you follow where I'm reading? Do you follow?
Yes, I follow.
Okay. Now, I want to test the correctness of this understanding. What is SIT program, Caesar's program, and Gauteng heavy vehicle donations? You approve donations for the city. What donations are being referenced here?
I don't know. I don't have an idea because it never came to my attention, to be honest.
Did you ever authorize any donations as described in the document here?
No.
To your recollection?
No, in terms of my recollection during my tenure, even the first term of office, I never approved such donations.
You never approved such donations. So to the extent that Stein were to argue, as it suggested perhaps he is, that there were similar previous donations as he describes them, you would disagree that those donations, if they were found to have in fact taken place, would be lawful? You would-
Correct.
You said correct.
I'm saying if those donations happened before, like Christine is saying, it's been their practice of accepting donations at that level as a department. For me, it is incorrect because the policy is very clear.
Okay, I note your answer. On the page 346 still, after the quotation we just read, which is in bold, there is a question posed to IPID. Did you then consider that all other donations in the EMPD were also non-compliant with the process that you described, and surely Chief of Police and other senior management, including Deputy Chief Spies, who had lodged this complaint, cannot be ignorant of such donations. Furthermore, according to Stein, the EMPD was under-resourced at the time. Did Chief of Police Mapieye and Deputy Chief Spies address this to effectively and efficiently protect the residents of Ekurhuleni? You see what I've just read. As a city manager, I'm inviting your comment on how your members express queries to IPID. Do you consider what I have just read into the record appropriate as authored by both Mr. Zulu and Mr. Makwiting addressed to IPID?
It is inappropriate.
If this had come to your attention at the time before you retired, what steps would you have taken?
I would have subjected this to a disciplinary action, but through the relevant responsible authority.
And in this instance, that would be Advocate Kemi Behari.
Yes.
I see, because they
Correct,
are
yeah.
legal persons. It's within his department.
Correct.
At 347, top of the page, it's, the first line is an ending to a statement starting on the previous page. I'm interested in the next sentence, and I quote, "The city is the one that stood to benefit from the registration of vehicles, particularly considering that the EMPD had a shortage of vehicles and there seemed to be no effort from the Chief of Police and senior management to address this." So the authors contend that that donation of vehicles and their registration in the manner that eventually was investigated by IPID was appropriate because EMPD had a shortage of vehicles at the time, and there was no effort on the part of Chief of Police and senior management to address this shortage. I bring this to your attention to invite your comment.
My comment is it is incorrect. Even though they were to receive donations, they were supposed to follow the process.
Yes. And lastly then, on the same page, and I'm on item 10 at page 347, towards the bottom of that page, starting at 5th line from the end of that paragraph.
Yes.
It reads, and it's a question posed to IPID. Why did you not conduct a thorough and detailed investigation into the donations process and verify the evidence of stain that this was a norm in the EMPD department? Why were the senior management not requested for explanations on the delay in reporting a crime, if indeed the actions of Mkhwanazi did amount to the same? End of quote. You see where I read. Now, I'll start with the latter part of that. Did the actions, knowing what you know now, I'll preface that, did the actions of Mr. Mkhwanazi, because I'm looking at you, did the actions of Mr. Mkhwanazi constitute a crime? And I say it simply because it is referred to as a crime here. In your view today as you sit here?
Correct.
You consider that that constituted a crime. To your knowledge, is it correct that receiving these kind of donations and registrations of vehicles from private sector and fitting them with blue lights, that this was the norm within the city of Ekurhuleni? Do you agree with that view?
That it was a norm. I'm not aware that they're receiving donations and even the registration of those cars and the blue lights. As I indicated, that the department is in Kempton Park and I do not get involved in the operations of.
But considering that now this trumps your authority, because only you can authorize donations.
Yes. This
Now
is
that entry there suggests that it is quite the norm.
No,
Does
there
that
should be
concern you?
discipline.
Because
No,
it would
concerns
suggest
me.
that there are more vehicles that are treated in this manner by the EMPD.
It's concerning for me, and I think action should be taken by the relevant authority for them to make a statement that is a norm, which I am not aware of, which is incorrect and irregular. So the
Yes.
HOD responsible must definitely take action for such utterances and the decision that they're challenging an investigation that was done.
You indicated that this letter was brought to your attention by Advocate Bihari, who indicated that it was never sent. That's what you stated
This
when we
letter,
started.
I'm saying, we saw it in the evidence bundle.
Yes. And you
Yes.
said Advocate Bihari confirmed to you that it was never sent.
Yes.
In that conversation with him, did you discuss its contents and specifically what I have just drawn your attention to?
I did not. We are preparing for the commission. I asked him that I saw this kind of letter here, and it was never brought to my attention. Then he said, no, it was an internal letter between themselves, and they never submitted the report to IPED. That is what he said.
So you didn't get insight into Advocate Bihari's thinking as to the appropriateness of the content of this document?
No, ma'am.
That is an issue you suggest perhaps we take up with him?
Yes.
Okay. We shall do so. Jumping about, as I have suggested that we do in your statement, I then want to deal with the question of the upliftment of Brigadier Mkwanazi's suspension, and I specify, as the question did say, by Human Resources Ms. Linda Kasheka on 24th May 2023, and the directive to the Chief of Police that he be redeployed to his substantive post as Director Specialized Services. Do you see where I am?
Yes, I see.
Your response to that question is reflected in paragraphs 85 and 86. You may summarize for the record what your response is.
My response is that I did not get involved in this because Julius at that point was a junior official. I have no knowledge of this, and therefore I cannot make further comments because it was done at the departmental level, at the level of Julius being a director in the department and being a level like a lower level that reports to the accounting office. So the redeployment and the withdrawal and so forth, I was not part of the process.
I appreciate you're not part of the process, but you were aware of the process as it unfolded. Is that not so?
I was not aware.
I need us to pull up Mapiea's file again, Mapiea and extras. You can close the current one, Niza, and put it away.
Yes, I have it.
I'll just give the commissioners a moment to locate the file. And I would like to refer you specifically, starting at page 177 of that file, JM29.
177.
At JM29, this is a letter headed Upliftment of Suspension. It is signed at the bottom by Linda Kasheka as HOD Human Resources. Oh, sorry, you haven't located it yet.
Yes, I have.
You have. It is dated the 24th of May. It's called Upliftment of Suspension and signed at the bottom by Linda Kasheka, HOD Human Resources.
Correct.
The effect, basically the content of this letter is to advise Mr. Mkwanazi, as it's directed to him, the employee, that his suspension has been uplifted. Now I see below Ms. Kasheka's signature, it suggests that this document was CC'd to you, so it was copied to you. You received it.
Yes, it was copied to my office, yes. Correct.
You draw a distinction between you and your office. Would you like to elaborate
I
on
don't.
that?
It was CC to me. I agree.
Okay.
Correct.
If you then go over leaf, at page 178, and that is annexure JM 3030. This is a letter from Ms. Linda Kasheka once again. It is dated the 15th of June 2023. And it reads, I'll quickly read through it. Mr. Mkwanazi's suspension was uplifted on the 24th of May 2023. The upliftment of his suspension did not have any condition attached to it. It has come to my attention that Mr. Mkwanazi has been moved to a different position as director by law enforcement position, which is not what was approved. Do you see where I've just read?
Yes, ma'am.
Once again, you are copied in this document, in this.
Correct.
I want us to go back to this conversation we had earlier about the powers of the Chief of Police. You recall when we were considering the terms of Section 64, capital C, it said that the Chief of Police has got the power to transfer, appoint, and move members of police.
Correct.
As a city manager, is what Mr. Kasheka reflects here correct in the context of Section 64C?
Here, Mrs. Gasheka, she's actually advising, she is not instructing the Chief of Police in terms of the labor relations.
Why do you
It's
say
an
she's
advice.
advising?
If she was instructing, because it was emails back and forth between the two HODs. If she was instructive in nature, I was going to actually intervene. But now it was between the two of them, and subsequent to the emails between the two of them, the chief himself uplifted the suspension and redeployed Mkwanazi to how he was advised by the HOD. By HOD Gasheka.
But why do you call it advice?
Pardon?
Why do you call the content of this document an
The
advice?
can I read the last paragraph? She says, I would like to advise
Yes?
that you should avoid processes that may lead to unnecessary disputes for the city.
Indeed. But she's not advising on the redeployment. She's advising against unnecessary disputes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the section you are reading does not relate to challenging the redeployment by Chief Mapieye. The section that deals with the redeployment is in the first paragraph. And she concludes that statement by saying, by challenging that he has been moved to a different position as director by law enforcement position, which is not what was approved. Approved by who? Considering that this is communication to the Chief of Police.
I explained earlier on that the Chief of Police has powers in terms of the SAPS Act. Also, he's governed by the Systems Act, Section 56, in conjunction with the systems of delegation. So, Ms. Gasheka, I'm sure she will talk more about it because an HR matter is a labor relation matter. She will talk more about it. I'm sure she based, I assume that she based her decision on the systems of delegation.
And that was your understanding on receipt of this letter as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in this instance, whose approval was necessary to obtain by Chief Mapieye before he effected that transfer?
Approval. Remember the approval, the transfers and recruitment processes, these are HR matters. He was supposed to have a discussion with Linda Gasheka, but here I can see they have their own interaction and communication. And the approval of actually transferring Julius or removing from this position to the other, he was supposed to do it because he's the head of department.
Yes.
And Julius reports to him.
So what approval did you understand that Ms. Kasheka specifically indicated needed to be sought? From who? From you as the city manager? Or from her as the head of department? I'm trying to get your understanding on seeing this.
Linda Gashega will answer for herself.
I'm trying to get your understanding. That's why I'm not. That's
My
why I'm not
understanding-
asking you why she said. I say, what did you understand?
My understanding is that the letter is like advising. That is my understanding then, that she was advising the chief of police. If the chief of police was sort of uncomfortable with this advice of uplifting the suspension, he was supposed to actually escalate the matter. That he is forced by Linda or another HOD, because they're at the same level, that he was instructed to uplift the suspension.
Hence my question to you. They're on the same level. You are the city manager.
Yes.
Mr. Sheka says it can't happen without approval. Whose approval was she referencing? Is it your approval because both of them report to you?
It's obvious.
Okay. If it is that obvious, what approval was this that you had to be sought from you? And where does your power to approve that derive from?
Remember, I referred you to the systems of to two pieces of legislation that the chief had those powers. So Ms. Gasheka, in her response, that's why I said, I assume she used the systems of delegations and she ignored the SAPS Act in terms of the powers of the chief of police.
So do you conclude that she was correct?
I'm saying she was not correct to say approval by who?
Yes.
Remember, I referred and I said I assumed that she relied on the systems of delegations and ignored the SAPS Act
Okay.
in terms of the powers that are assigned or delegated to, or assigned to the chief of police, not even delegated, assigned.
Yes, that's a correct term. I agree with you. Commissioner? Oh,
No, if you're continuing on the theme, carry on.
I'm moving to the next document.
Oh, no, please let me ask. Ms. Mashazi, Dr. Mashazi, sorry, in that annexed bundle of MAPIA is still, and it's about this discussion about the authority of Ms. Gasheka. If you go to page 177, it is an upliftment of suspension and it's addressed to Mr. Mkwanazi, Brigadier Mkwanazi, it's Gasheka, and you are copied as you have agreed that it's not your office, it is you copied. Now, that last paragraph there, it's not advice, it's telling Brigadier, this comes from the head of HR, to whom Brigadier Mkwanazi doesn't report, as you have told us. He reports to Chief Mapie, who has the power to discipline, which you have conceded. But in that last paragraph, Mr. Sheka tells Mr. Brigadier Mkwanazi that his suspension is uplifted and he must come back to work. From your evidence, it seems Mr. Sheka did not have the authority to uplift the suspension of Brigadier Mkwanazi, and that authority lies with Chief Mapia. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know why she would have copied you? You don't get involved, you've told us, with disciplining of junior employees, and here you are. There's quite a number of correspondence where you're not copied, but when we now look at this suspension issue, you are copied. And you see that at page 177, at 178, you are copied again. This is the document you've just been discussing now with Ms. Sillo. And then again at page 179, it's Chief Mapia writing to Ms. Gasheka, and he copies you. Why would they have copied you about a junior employee that you have absolutely no interest or authority to discipline?
I wouldn't understand, and I can't answer that, ma'am. Why would they copy me? Because Mkwanazi is way far too low for me to be copied in terms of departmental processes. Page 177, the letter that is signed by Gasheka.
Yes.
I was not copied.
You are copied. If you look at the bottom,
The top one, the 24th May.
Yes. If you look right at the bottom, I thought you agreed with Ms. Sillo. Just after,
Down there.
just below Ms. Kasheka's email,
Oh, I see.
signature. Thank you, Paddy.
And the next one, 178, I was copied, but I'm saying that they should explain the reasons why they copied me on junior official matters.
And you didn't ask, why are they copying you?
I deal with so many things, ma'am. And so many correspondence are coming into my office. So my email is like, and I get, in fact, I get queries from the public, number one. I get queries from this 26 department. Some of the CC documents, they get lost in the process because I deal with many issues.
Maybe let me put to you why it is of interest, why they have copied you, why that question is of interest and would require an answer. It's because the evidence that we have had, or the testimony that we have had so far, is that you had a hand in the decision not to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi eventually, which we have seen part of on the interview where you say you made a decision not to discipline him. There is also testimony that you were involved in the discussion or in the decision ultimately of Mr. Kasheka to uplift his suspension and have him return to work. That's why the interest in my questions, at least, that you are copied on an HR matter that involves a junior employee. And there are these allegations that we've had that you had a direct involvement in how the disciplinary process against him eventually was aborted and scuppered.
I want to state categorically that I did not participate in the suspension, nor the upliftment of the suspension. I deny all the facts that they indicated, that I participated, I called them, I did everything. I deny those facts.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. I want to refer you then to the next document in the same file, and that's Annexure JM 31. That starts at page 179. If you've located the document, this is a letter from Chief Mapieye, dated the 20th of June 2023. And it is addressed to Mr. Kasheka and copied to yourself. You see at the top of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in this particular letter, Chief Mapieye states, and I quote, "In my capacity as Chief of Police, Head of Department EMPD, I'm directly responsible for discipline and managing of all EMPD members and staff." Do you see where I've just read?
Yes, ma'am.
I will then jump the next paragraph and go to the third, where he invokes the provisions of section 64C2B, and he quotes what it provides, subject to the applicable laws. He, Mr. Mapieye, as chief, will be responsible for the recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the municipal police service. Do you see in italics that quotation? Then he continues to state, I redeployed Brigadier Mkhwanazi to perform the functions of the Director Bylaws Operation and Specialized Division with effect from 24th May 2023 till the disciplinary matters have been concluded. Next paragraph, I ensured that Brigadier Mkhwanazi was treated fairly and in the best interest of council and the EMPD department. It is important to note that no legal rights and or benefits or salary of Brigadier James Mkhwanazi are being infringed upon. And I will stop there. My question is, you are copied once again in this communication. Do you have a difficulty with the correctness of what Chief Mapieye states in that letter?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you have a difficulty with the correctness of the content of that letter?
I don't have.
As a city manager, why did you not advise Mr. Kasheka accordingly? That on this score, Chief Mapieye is correct. You cannot direct that he redeploy. After he has deployed Mr. Mkhwanazi to this one unit, you cannot direct him to redeploy, because Section 64C2B, as quoted, actually gives him the exclusive power. Why didn't you do so? To correct Mr. Sheka's error?
I think in my package or whatever, there's a letter
Yes.
where Chief of Police wrote to me and complaining about Gasheka and the process and so forth, where I addressed Gasheka and also General Mkhwanazi.
We'll deal with that. I think that was in relation to
No,
the
no, no, I'm
appointment by the
responding to
55.
say I did something about this and there's a letter to that effect.
No, what I'm pointing out to you, Doctor, is that letter, and we will get to it. It's in relation to the appointment of the 55 people to various posts by Mr. Mkhwanazi. So we will get to that letter. This particular correspondence we are dealing with relates purely and solely to the redeployment by Chief Mapieye of Mr. Mkhwanazi, as he says, pending the conclusion of the disciplinary processes. My question to you is, if you accept that he's correct here, as a city manager and copied on this communication, why didn't you correct Mr. Sheka to say you're going down the wrong lane?
As I indicated that Ms. Gasheka, maybe she's not aware of the SEFS Act because everything is based on the SEFS Act in terms of the powers that are assigned to the Chief of Police. Her understanding, I assume, that it was through the Systems of Delegations and Municipal Systems Act. So that's why it is important that the author of the letter explains her position in terms of this. In terms of the misunderstanding, well, there's always misunderstanding between the HOD, HR, and other departmental heads in terms of her role as an enabler. Remember, she's playing a supporting role towards all the departments in terms of recruitment, discipline, and so forth, because labor relations, it is one of her functions. Chief of Police is one of the HODs that would have challenges with how she did things, but at some point in this letter, in these documents, I addressed the issues about the other overstepping her powers.
Perhaps let me assure you, the author of these documents will definitely come to the Commission to explain. I am not, and I cannot expect you to speak on her behalf. She'll speak for herself. My question to you was slightly different. You said you accepted the correctness of what Chief Mapieye states. And I'm asking you, why did you not intervene at that stage to draw Ms. Gasheka's attention to the fact that on this score, Chief Mapieye is correct?
In terms of my recollection, I don't want to say I did or I did not. Remember, these things happened in 2023, and I'm actually dealing with a lot of issues, to be honest, and I cannot be expected to remember each and every letter that was CC'd to me. As I indicated, that I'm running a big metro with 26 departments, over 18,000 employees with different challenges. So it is important to know that at some point, some of the things will actually not be dealt with accordingly in terms of my responsibilities as an accounting officer.
But surely, in this regard, there are a handful of HODs who report directly to you. It's not about the thousands of employees within EMPD or within the city. Surely that you can deal with in your daily life at work.
As an accounting officer...
Don't you give guidance to your direct reportees?
I do.
Okay.
But
your guidance was required here. What happened?
But
you say you don't remember whether or not you gave it.
Yes, I don't. I don't remember, to be honest, ma'am, whether I did or I did not. But all I remember, because there's documentation here, I addressed the matter.
When and how?
I addressed the matter in my letter to them, where I even requested the Chief of Police to draw up a policy and indicated to both Gasheka and Mkhwanazi that they cannot overstep their mandate and they must respect the authority of the chief of police.
As I pointed out to you, that was regarding the employment of the 55.
Yes.
Yes, not
Yeah, that
regarding
one-
Mr. Mkwanazi's redeployment. It was a different issue. And I concede that you did write a letter to that effect. So you are not entirely correct to say you addressed this issue, this particular issue before us.
This one I did not address. I don't remember, I don't recall. Hence I'm saying I do not recall, ma'am.
I accept
And
that.
as I was not involved, though I was CCT, and I indicated in my response that I received too many emails.
Yes.
And the CC ones, obviously, will not take precedence to the ones that are directed to me.
As a matter of interest, what was the practice within the city? What is the purpose of copying you in some correspondence, as Commissioner Baloyi correctly pointed out? In some correspondence you are not copied, in others you are. What is the relevance of that, and on what is the decision based as to when to copy you and not to copy you?
I don't know,